Welcome to episode 45 of the Busted Buns video game podcast. And just like we said on the last episode, this episode we are talking Super Mario Galaxy 2, the entire episode long. We're going to give you some really interesting stuff like the general info. Once again, that's going to blow you out of the water.
You got to lead with the heavy hitters, man.
Gameplay, Galaxies, music, story, reception, and legacy. Folks, it's going to be the same structure as it was for Super Mario Galaxy 1 because just like just like what we're doing in this podcast, Super Mario Galaxy 2, all it did was steal a bunch of shit from Super Mario Galaxy 1. It was unoriginal. It had a couple new things like here and there. And folks, I'm going to tell you right now, like I really did like this game. I remember playing it and having a lot of fun. But I don't know, as I was going through today and read over the whole week, and Red will probably kind of reiterate this, like I just wasn't that big on the game. So, you know, we're going to talk good about it, but in comparison to Galaxy 1, we're going to also go in on Super Mario Galaxy 2 a little bit. So, let's have some fun today. We are going to talk as good as we can. But Red, usually I would go into the general info, but I have been talking for a little while during the intro. So I'm going to throw it to you. Why don't you give us some of that exciting general info?
Well, before jumping into that, I have to agree with you completely that I'm not quite as excited for this week as we were last week. Galaxy 2, general info, it's more of the same. If you played Mario Galaxy, you know what you're getting with Mario Galaxy 2. It's a 3D Mario platforming game. It's a sequel to Mario Galaxy, obviously. It was released in North America in May of 2010 on the Wii. So it had the motion controls, of course. It was not part of the Mario 3D All-Stars release, which we might talk about.
And there's a reason for that, people.
Dude, and so let's talk about that while we're on it. So I have heard speculation and things like that, but I have not seen a concrete evidence of why this was not part of 3D All-Stars. I've heard maybe it was a licensing issue. I've heard they want to milk it and maybe release it separately like they did Mario 3D World. You said there's a reason. Let's hear it.
Well, I don't know. Well, I said there's a reason. What I meant was it sucked more than Galaxy 1. I actually didn't have a reason like licensing or anything. My thinking was, here's my thing. Okay, folks, here we go again. I'm going to try to talk highly about Galaxy 2, but I am going to bash on it. But in comparison to all these other games, like, it just wasn't that great. So then... That's why I was thinking maybe that's why it's not in the 3D All-Stars, but then they included Sunshine, which is the worst 3D Mario game, so I'm not really sure exactly what they're doing. I tell you what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to do like Super Mario 3D World, and they're going to release it on its own, which would have been nice before this podcast because I like to go back and play the games, like not a lot, but just kind of go back through and like, you know, reminisce a little bit and just kind of jog my memory. But I do not know my Wii U power cords in the HDMI and I got a bunch of HDMI cables. But like, you know, the other cords that you need to use the Wii U, I do not know where they are at. So we just had to watch YouTube videos. But Red, did you go through all the general info or not? I wasn't really paying too much attention.
I didn't make it all the way through it there. It just, when we brought up the whole Mario 3D All-Stars thing, it was something that as soon as Nintendo announced that, like that was people like, well, where's Galaxy 2? I'm like, well, 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy 1, I feel like all innovated quite a bit, whereas Galaxy 2 was like it's more of the same. It's more of the same. So I can see maybe they left it off because it's too similar to Galaxy. But in the end of the day, it was a critical and commercial success.
If you're putting, like you said, you couldn't do both Galaxy games on the 3D All-Stars, and it would have been really weird if they would put two on there but not one. So I kind of do agree with you on what you're saying about, you know, being original and everything.
Exactly. I mean, but it was a successful game. It is an amazing rating on Metacritic. It is sitting there also in the top 10 of all time, along with Galaxy, sitting at a 97 on Metacritic. They sold 7.4 million, which was a bit of a pretty sharp decrease from the original Mario Galaxy, which caught me off guard, considering many people, like even people on our Discord, really seem to prefer Galaxy 2 in general over the first. So
okay, folks, here's what I want to say. On this podcast, we do try to respect everybody's gaming opinions.
Oh, of course.
But if you think Galaxy 2 is better than Galaxy 1, I respect your opinion, but I don't know. I don't fucking understand you because I don't know how anybody thinks this is better than Galaxy 1, but I rank Galaxy 1 pretty damn high. But yeah, I think the platforming is a lot. We'll kind of talk about all this as we go through the podcast episode, but I think like a lot of people like the platforming aspect of it. Like in that regards, it may have been better than Galaxy 2 or Galaxy 1.
Levels,
but like I look at everything as a whole. And I think Galaxy 1 just delivered everything as a whole more, whereas Galaxy 2, maybe it had better platforming. I don't think it did, but a lot of people think that way. And I think that's why they rank it higher. But just, I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't agree. But we do respect your opinions. Here's one thing I want to say. And we'll talk about music a little bit later on. But apparently the symphony orchestra came back for the second one. Where the fuck were they? Because as I was going through watching videos, like, okay, maybe there's a new theme here and there, but it wasn't very good because like I didn't remember it all. And just
it didn't stick with
every
you.
theme I hear is either a Mario theme that's been used in past games before Galaxy, or it was something from Galaxy. It seemed like I think he said when we talk about music, we'll talk about all that. But
we'll get
I
to
just
that
don't know
bit,
where that was all at, to be honest with you, because that orchestra, they must have, I don't know, taken a break or too long a vacation. You know, it's a lot like the artist's second album. Like their first album always seems to be the best, then their second album drops off. The symphony orchestra for Super Mario Galaxy 2, they dropped off a little bit. Let's just be honest.
They took a breather.
Gameplay. Let's go to gameplay. I'm going to throw it to you right here. Kind of go and talk about the premise and setting. A lot like Super Mario Galaxy, but there were some differences.
It really was. I mean, it just as the name implies, it's set in outer space. You're going to travel through these different galaxies, collecting power stars, which lets you go to different galaxies. You know, there are these awesome 3D planets that are within the galaxies, and you know, the gravity that we talked so much about in the original Mario Galaxy is still a huge part of the exploration and the platforming in Galaxy 2. Like you can still run pretty much 3-dimensionals all the way around all the planets within the galaxies. And just like the gravity puzzles are still really well done. Like the gravity is still, I think, one of the most innovative parts of Galaxy. They kept it, they tweaked it and expanded on it a little bit in Galaxy 2. So I still loved the gravity-based puzzles, the fact that you could run all the way around these planets. I was a big fan of that. Now, one area where it really, and there's actually going to be a few of these areas where it deviates from the original Galaxy. And actually, you know what? You know, we try not to, some people may have not played the original, so we try not to focus too much on the differences. But I think in this case, it's relevant. They got rid of the big hub world from Mario Odyssey. Like the Comet, what was it? The Comet
Mario
Observatory?
Galaxy. Honestly, it's a lot like Mario Odyssey, though.
They're all in outer space. Leave me alone. But
hey, before we even started, I was saying episode 44, episode 55. I couldn't get the episode right, so I'm not that mad about you getting the Mario game wrong.
No, but they got rid of the hub world from Galaxy, and that kind of pissed me off because I've loved the hub world in the Mario 3D Mario games, and they went back to you've got a tiny one. You've got the Mario spaceship. Starship Mario is its official name, and it's tiny. It's itty bitty, and you select levels like you did in the old school 2D Mario games.
Hate it.
Like you go to a world and then you select a level, which, okay, first of all,
it's not a fucking 2D game. It's a 3D game.
This is going to be a nitpick. I don't like how you go to a world and then you have galaxies within the world.
That makes no sense.
I'm no astronomer, but that does not fucking make any sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, your planets or your planets or your worlds should be within the galaxies, not vice versa. It's funny because I actually thought about that too. I was like, this is kind of ass backwards, but
it really is.
I mean, kind of going with what you said right there. Like probably the most disappointing thing to me, well, two things, is one, the spaceship that they were on, the Comet Observatory versus Starship Mario. Just a huge difference in the size and how enjoyable it was, and then also how you got to the different galaxies. Like, you know, in the original, like, you know, you're in that hub world and then you went to these different domes, whereas this one you went into the worlds, or no wait, the worlds. See, I'm getting it backwards now. And then you went on a line like in 2D Mario games to these galaxies, and just that's really where the game went wrong for me, because we got the Comet Observatory is a spaceship, and also Starship Mario is a spaceship. So why they had to have such a huge difference in size? Because that made the first game for me. That hub and the music that comes along with that hub was just absolutely amazing. It was so much fun. It was cool seeing like it dark, like half of it being, well, most of it being dark when you started, and then you go along, like the light goes through these pipes or whatever, cords, and it lights up, and just it was gorgeous, and just run, like you could run around for a while and not do a lot, but you could do a little bit. And then, as I've already mentioned, that music, like it just adds to the whole experience of the game. And that was just missing with Mario Galaxy 2. And like we get right off the bat, like you're on this tiny spaceship, And like, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, I understand, okay, this spaceship is flying to these different worlds and going to these different galaxies. And then I guess on the first game, like the galaxies were already there in the domes. So yeah, it kind of made sense why they used that mechanic. But I just was not a fan of it whatsoever.
Yeah, it was still disappointing. And that's I'm completely
I could have ripped on
you.
that the entire episode.
Oh, I mean, so for me, I played 64. I never played Sunshine. I still haven't played it, even though I've got it on the All-Star Collection. And I played Galaxy. So I got used to having that hub world, that central area where you could branch off to, you kind of explore at your own leisure a little bit. You could go to different worlds, go to different galaxies. You did get some secrets in the hub world itself. And, you had Rosalina. And then going to Galaxy 2 and just losing that, I'm like, oh, well, it seemed like such a great part of 64 in Galaxy. Why the fuck are we getting rid of it? And so
it was a different idea they were going for, and I just don't think it worked.
No, like that's one thing I'm like, it was working well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Unfortunately, by the time Odyssey rolled around, they kind of kept the same, they got it, don't really have a hub world in Odyssey either. Which
but Odyssey made up in a lot of other areas, though.
It absolutely did. And there's a few other key areas where there's some differences. I mean, I could sit here and bash, like you said, on the whole hub world thing for 45 minutes. But, there were a couple other key differences. Like a lot of the stars that you collected now, the galaxies had checkpoints in them. They had checkpoint flags that you would hit as you're working through it. And I know in Galaxy on some of the stars, if you died, they wouldn't make you go all the way back to the beginning, but there weren't like tangible checkpoint flags like we're used to seeing in some of the 2D Mario games. So I was surprised to see those make an appearance in Galaxy 2. And then the other, there's like still 2 or 3 more. I don't know why I said the other. There's still 2 or 3 other big differences. You can actually like play as Luigi in some of the levels initially. Like you don't have to wait till the end of the game to play as Luigi. And then, once you do beat Bowser, I believe you can play as Luigi in any of the levels as you want. So having that flexibility was kind of nice. But what do you think about those 2 changes? The adding of the checkpoints and incorporating Luigi. Did you have any strong feelings on him?
Yeah, I like when they include Luigi in the games, period, because there's been a couple, I don't know exactly, but I want to say, I believe Mario 64 didn't have anything with Luigi, but there's been a couple games here and there that have not had him in the game, and I think he should be in every Mario game. Like, now, should he be playable or not playable, part of the story? Like, how exactly does he fit in? I think you can vary that up between games, like, and also it would be up for debate on how to do it in each game, but I do like when you have the ability to play as him, and I do like when you have the ability to play as him a little bit earlier. Because like with Galaxy, I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna get 120 stars so I can play with Luigi. And then, dude, as soon as I got there, I was like, okay, I'm done with this game. So if you keep him off until the end, like you're just burnt out by that time. So in this game, like we got to play as him throughout the game. So I really did like that, and we kind of seen this expanded on, like with Super Mario 3D World, where it allows you, I believe, to play as Princess Peach and also Toad, maybe, or
I believe so. Yeah,
I want to say there's 4. So, like, I did really like that. Like bringing Luigi in, like not at the end of the forget the end of the game. You had to get 120 stars in Galaxy to get him, so you could beat the game and still not get. Actually, that's what Galaxy should have done, is when you beat the game, they should have let you play as Luigi, not this 120 star crap. Even though I did it in Galaxy, I know a lot of people, even in an easy game, do struggle to either, because of difficulty or time to find 120 stars. So I did like that addition right there. One thing that I don't know if I liked it or not, was this whole, we're only going to have 2 or 3 stars per galaxy. And I'm kind of up. How do you feel about that?
I'm torn on it. Sorry, I was taking a sip of my drink when you threw it to me there. I'm kind of torn on it because in Galaxy, I liked how almost every galaxy had like 5 or 6. When you threw in like the hidden stars, the comet stars, most of them had at a minimum 5, and then you had like 1 or 2 galaxies per area that only had 1. And so Mario Galaxy 2 completely took away the galaxies that only had 1 star. And I actually was kind of a fan of those.
I think there were a couple that only had 1 star, but I could be wrong because those might have had prankster comments too. I'm not sure.
I'd have to go back and look, but but I'm pretty sure that almost all of them had either 2 or 3, and I didn't think that was a lot. You're absolutely right. I mean, you go back to like Mario 64, there were 7 in every level. Even Galaxy had 4 or 5 in most of the levels. So for me, I'm like, you build this whole giant, amazing level, and then you only put 2 or 3 stars in it. And I get that, yes, once you beat all 120 stars, you go through the cutscene again, and it does unlock another 120 stars. And they're called like green stars instead of power stars.
But aren't they the same stars, or are they different stars?
I honestly don't know. I never made it that far.
Yeah, I didn't either, because who wants to play that much Super Mario Galaxy 2?
Right. I never got the 120 stars, so I don't know if they're the same or different, but apparently there's the same number of green stars as there are regular stars. So they might be the same, just with like little tweaks or little modifiers to them. I don't know, but all in all, that adds up to 240 stars. If you get all 240 of those, you open up like this Grandmaster Galaxy. My ass ain't ever gonna get to that.
Nope.
I mean, it's funny to say that because you've heard me say, like, I did Odyssey and got 880 moons.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can do that in Odyssey, you can do that in Super Mario Galaxy 2. But in Odyssey, you weren't really repeating the entire game. Like, all of those moons were different. Whereas, like, now we don't know how the 120 green stars work, because neither Red nor I have ever done it.
Right.
But like, I don't know. I forgot where I was actually going with that. But as you were talking, like, I kind of realized that I am not a fan of 2 or 3 stars in the Galaxy, because
it's just too few.
You don't get to explore the Galaxy that much. Like you said, you put a bunch of hard work into it, and then you only have like 2 stars. Like, you're not really exploring. You're not really getting to know the Galaxy by the time you say hi and go on your first date. Like, you're saying bye again. So, like, it's just like, I didn't really care. I really didn't know at first, before you start talking. Then as you're talking, I'm like, yeah, I don't like this comment set. So was not a big fan of that. But let's talk about something that I think we both did like, and that was the addition of Yoshi to the game.
Yeah.
Every Mario game that has Yoshi in it, it's a lot of fun. I don't mind Yoshi not being in every game, because it makes the games that he is in more special. So, I mean, he can eat enemies, use flower grapples, he can do the flutter jump, which he's done basically in every single Mario game. And when we do this podcast, there's so many times I want to say Zelda, no matter what game we're talking about, but I caught myself right there. And then I guess
I was
Yoshi,
guilty of that last episode, so you're good. Trust me, that was me.
And then I guess Yoshi runs off and Mario takes damage. Like, he basically had the same functions as every other Mario game that he's been in, but it kind of just adds a whole new element to the game. Especially, the flower grapples were something new, so that definitely added a new concept to the game, but also the flutter jump. That's, kind of like a double jump in a way. So definitely when you are dealing with a platforming game, 3D platforming or 2D platforming, like having that flutter jump that kind of does function as that double jump, like that is a huge thing right there. And it can get you out of a lot of trouble. Now, you could make the argument that in the Galaxy games, you had the spin mechanic, so you could jump and then spin. So that kind of functioned the same way. But anyways,
I always forgot about that when I was researching for the last 2 episodes. I always forgot you could do that spin in midair and get that extra jump. I always forgot about that. So, but I'm with you. I like the addition of Yoshi. Again, he's a beloved Mario character.
Yes.
Like you kind of mentioned with Luigi.
Like, nobody hates Yoshi, dude.
You can't hate Yoshi. He's awesome. And he eats enemies, and he's also got a couple of power-ups that we'll talk about here in just a second of his own. So I loved his incorporation. I was a little surprised that he wasn't in the first Galaxy, to be honest, because they made the big deal of him being like in 64. If you got all 120 stars, you got to go meet him on the roof of the castle. So you would think he would have appeared in the original.
Well, remember
Galaxy.
They had Sunshine in between that game.
Oh, I keep forgetting that.
It's there hidden.
I'm pretty sure I just talked about that. And I forgot about that.
You gotta play someday just to realize how bad that game sucks, man.
After going through Odyssey and then prepping for these last 2 podcasts, all in the last few months, I think I did 64 when the 3D collection first came out. I'm going to stay away from Mario for a little while.
I'm taking a break myself.
But no, I'm with you. I like the addition of Yoshi. That was the last of like the really big differences between Galaxy and Galaxy 2. Because you get into the controls. The controls are the same. I mean, you got your standard 3D Mario moves that you've had since 64. You get the long jump, the ground pound, the wall jumps, the somersaults, your star pointer that I know we had a great debate last episode about, liking it, disliking it. We were kind of on, and I wasn't a huge fan, but it's still there. You collect the star bits. You can use the sling pods, the pull stars, you shake the Wiimote to spin, which you use as a melee attack. And it also powers some of your power-up functions, or uses some of your power-up function, I should say. But the other big area where there is a little bit of difference between the two games is in those power-ups. And that's why I was kind of rushing through the controls there.
There was nothing to talk about in the controls. Like you said, it was basically the same as Galaxy 1.
Exactly. But we did get, we had the bee mushroom, the boo, the fire flower, the spring, which we again had a really good chat on last time, and the rainbow star, which, just makes you invincible. But what did you think of the new power-ups that we got in Galaxy 2? We get the Cloud Flower, the Spin Drill, and the Rock Mushroom. What did you think of the new power-ups?
I actually liked all of them, to be honest with you. My favorite new one was probably the Cloud Flower. Just being able to kind of, like, you could go up in the air and it just create that new platform. It would save you from dying a ton, and then you can use it, like, on wind to kind of go in different directions. So I think they used the Cloud Flower very well, and I like how it added to the platforming of the game. So by far, my favorite new addition. The Spin Drill, not huge on that one, but it was cool. I kind of like the concept of how you can be on like one side of the galaxy. I won't say planet, but it's not a planet or a world. It's the galaxies inside the world, which, like you said, doesn't make sense. And like we said that at the beginning of the episode, but it's it was cool. Like, hey, I'm going to start at this thing. I'm going to drill all the way down, and then I'll see where I come out on the other side. And then you had that boss. I don't have the bosses pulled up in front of me, but that boss where you kind of had like a circle platform, and you kind of like, use a drill to hit him on the other side.
To hit the underside of him. Yeah,
it wasn't my favorite, but I think it was a very cool concept. And then the rock mushroom. I mean, anytime, this is like the Goron was in Majora's Mask.
The Goron mask,
the Goron mask, like when you could sit there and spin and like roll everywhere. Like, it reminded me of that so much. And also a big fan of the rock mushroom, just be able to turn into a rock, roll around really quickly, just destroy everything in your path. Like I said, it took me back to Majora's Mask. That one right there was just a ton of fun. So overall, I gotta say, the Spin Drill is okay. Like, I would say I liked it, but it was not huge. But the Cloud Flower and the Rock Mushroom, I was really big on. How about you?
I just thought they did really creative jobs with all three of them in coming up with puzzles and challenges for all three of them. Like I said, the Cloud Flower and also all three of them are used in fun boss fights.
Yes.
Like, the Cloud Flower, you had to get on top of like a tower to attack one of the
Bowser Jr., which might be the one you're talking about. Like,
that's exactly the one I was thinking
that
of.
one is amazing.
Yeah, the Spin Drill, of course, you already mentioned, like drilling through the platform and hitting his underside. And then the Rock Mushroom, I can't remember what the boss fight was for that, but they all had a boss fight related to them. But I just thought they implemented them all very well. They were different enough from the existing power-ups that they really did feel like good additions to the game. So, like, I'm kind of with you. I think the Cloud was probably my favorite one. Just getting to create those three platforms and it just lets you get higher and higher or cross further and further, I thought was probably the most useful of them. The Rock Mushroom absolutely was just fun. Like you said, Goron from Majora's Mask. That's a perfect analogy for it. Just rolling around, taking out enemies, destroying boulders, destroying crystals. I just thought that it was just fun because you're just literally a wrecking ball rolling through the level. And then the Spin Drill, like I said, they just did a good job of coming up with puzzles where you had to like be on the other side of the surface and drill through to get where you wanted to go. So I just thought that they were all three so different and incorporated so well that I thought they were all three very welcome additions to the game. Now, Yoshi wasn't left out when it came to power-ups either. He got three of his own. He got the Dash Pepper, which let you move at a really fast speed, kind of similar to Mario Odyssey when you get the Fire Flowers and you just go taking off. I can't remember the name of them now off the top of my head. Then the Blimp Fruit, lets you basically inflate and you can blow out air to kind of navigate around a little bit. And then the Bulbberry kind of lights up and shows some hidden paths. So did you enjoy the Yoshi power-ups or were they just kind of indifferent to you?
Fuck that Bulbberry, dude. Like, it was like, okay, it's a cool power-up, I guess you could say. But anytime where there's an invisible path and you're going to give me something that shows the path, but you're going to put a timer on that shit? Like, no, I'm just not a fan of that. Is it difficult? Yes, it's difficult. And that's probably the reason why I don't like it. But yeah, that Bulbberry. Like, no, I did not care flowers, berries, who knows? I did not care for that one whatsoever. The blimp fruit, I thought that was pretty cool. Like, just getting fat, like, as I am nowadays. But I can't go up in the air like that. Like, okay, I gained all this weight. I look like the blimp fruit. Why can I not go up in the air and just float like that? Like, that's what now I know it's a fantasy game. I know it's a video game. I know you had to put in code to make this work, but I want to do that too. So obviously, me being like, dreaming of floating through the air with my fat body, I was definitely a fan of the blimp fruit. It made me feel like, I felt better about myself. I was like, well, yeah, I put on some weight, but look at Yoshi, man, he's huge, and he put on that weight a lot faster than I did. Like, I put it on pretty quickly, but I mean, Yoshi, he eats a freaking fruit, dude, and he is humongous. So.
COVID pounds are a real thing. It happens.
It was going on before that. But yeah, we'll relate. Yeah, we'll say COVID, like being home. I mean, it does relate to it a little bit because you have all the snacks, especially with kids. There's all kinds of snacks and food and blah, blah, blah. And then, but the Dash Pepper. Like, that one was very cool. And I like the concept of, like, Pepper being high, like, it doesn't really make you move fast, but peppers do, this might relate a little bit. They speed up your metabolism, and that kind of makes you think of stuff going fast. So that concept right there kind of made a little bit of sense. But, I did like, I didn't like all three of those. I didn't like the bulberry.
Yeah, you and the bulberry
but the blimp fruit and the Dash Pepper, I did like those two. And I liked it, like, you introduce Yoshi into the game, but then you also introduce these power-ups for him. So, like, yeah, we technically had 6 new power-ups instead of 3. So I like that they just didn't give Yoshi his regular mechanics. They actually added some more to him. So that I really liked all that.
I did too, and I pretty much agree 100% on your feelings on the 3 different power-ups. Like, the blimp and the dash were both really fun. The bulb, very much give or take. I will say, if I eat enough peppers, it is going to speed up my movement to the bathroom. That is going to absolutely happen. So I will say that. But, that really kind of sums up like the big differences between Galaxy and Galaxy 2. And I think that now that we've vented a little bit, we've talked about our preferences a little bit, I think it's time to jump into the actual galaxies of this game. There were 49 of them this time. So just like the last episode, we're not going to talk about every single galaxy. We're going to break it up by world and kind of maybe mention the ones that we thought were some of our favorites.
It's going to go a lot faster than the last episode. I can tell you all that.
We'll just, and that's at the end. That's what really drove. And I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. Okay. That's what really drove home to me how much more I liked Galaxy 1 than Galaxy 2 is how little I remembered of these galaxies in Galaxy 2 until I went back and did this research, and I'm like, I don't remember that world. I don't remember that level. I don't remember that galaxy. It's like, it's the Galaxy 1 levels, and I keep saying galaxies. I mean, but they stuck in my head, whereas the levels from Galaxy 2, just so many of them looked brand new to me, just because I didn't remember them. And that's not to say they're bad in any way, shape, or form, because after going back,
could you not remember them as well because you only got 2 stars instead of 6 in them?
That could be part of it too. I feel like you're in and out, like you said. You take her on your first date and then you never talk to her again. So there's a lot of factors I think that go into that. But man, I just remember going back and researching this last week and being like, I don't remember any of this. And I think you hit a very good point when you said, only getting 2 or 3 stars in each one, and then you're on to the next one. It makes them very forgettable. And that's one thing I'll always love about 64 and Galaxy 1 is like you got 5, 6, 7 stars in these levels. You spend time in them, and it makes them so much more memorable. But that's my soapbox before we actually get to the galaxies, because there are some good ones. And going back and researching this, it did remind me that, yes, there are some really good ones. So let's start with World 1, and I'm going to kick it right to you. What galaxies from World 1 jumped out to you the most?
Really, World 1 was just a bunch of starter galaxies that we kind of get, in every single game. Yeah. Now, what was it called? The Fluffy Bluff Galaxy. I like that one because it was beautiful. Like, you get to it in the starting area. I believe, from what I remember, it has, a lot of water. We talked a lot about in Galaxy 1, just with water scenery. And sometimes if you get that water scenery, with I don't know, yard grass landscapes, it does look really beautiful. So for these kind of first galaxies, just being starting galaxies, there wasn't a lot to them, but yeah, Fluffy Bluff did stand out to me. I remember not liking Spin Dig that much. These kind of galaxies that aren't desert, but they try to be deserts, like they're just rocks. I'm not really a big fan of any of those. Flip
bland.
swap. Oh, fuck that, man. No, I hated that galaxy so much, man. I died so many times. And then the right side down, I didn't really care for that one either. And just really overall, like I mean, they're really. It's just kind of going to be repetitive throughout because you're not going to hear us talk about as many galaxies because to be honest with you, we just didn't really care for them that much. Not a lot stood out. I think I'm having trouble with it already because I'm sitting here, I'm trying to say something. I'm just like, look at these galaxies. I'm like, you know what, man? There's really just not that much to it. So that's kind of my World 1 analysis. What about you?
Well, in general, I completely agree. They're dull levels for the most part. You get introduced to a lot of the power-ups. You meet Yoshi. You get the spin drill. You get the cloud power-up. So I get that. Like, they're introducing the mechanics, so they're not going to throw too much at you. Fluffy Bluff Galaxy, I did think was my favorite of them as well. Because not only was it a fairly pretty level, but you also got to climb like all the way up the side of like a cliff. Fluffy Bluff. So you're going up the side of a cliff and you're using the cloud mushroom to do it. So I'm completely with you. There just wasn't a lot in World 1. It's an introductory world. It's teaching you the mechanics. I don't expect the best levels in the game to be in the very first world. So without further ado, we'll just move on to world number 2. And I will say this one, the one that stood out to me the most was the Hightail Falls Galaxy. Yes. And you mentioned waterfalls in World 1, and we are whores for waterfalls. Yes. I don't care what the game is. We love us some waterfalls. So Hightail Falls Galaxy stuck out for me, mostly because it was I love the beautiful waterfalls in the area. And then I also was a big fan of the Wild Glide Galaxy because it looked like a jungle or a rainforest. And you got to glide, hence the name, on this animal called a fluzzard. And I thought that was pretty cool. It reminds me of the birds from Skyward Sword. Yes. Only you control those a little bit differently. But so I thought the Wild Glide Galaxy was very beautiful. I liked riding on the fluzzard. So those two stood out to me the most. And then I will say the Cosmic Cove Galaxy. Ah, yes. Because I love water levels. I have in almost every game that I ever play water levels, especially 3D Mario games. Yep. Like, I love the water levels. So Cosmic Cove also jumped out to me as a beautiful one. I like the underwater sections. What galaxies really jumped out for you in world number 2?
I can tell you when I was going through these galaxies, I was writing down the ones I kind of wanted to stand down and talk about a little bit. And I ended up writing down 2 of them. And Cosmic Cove was one of them. So absolutely love that level. Probably my favorite galaxy in the game. And then, like you said, with Hightail Falls, absolutely love that. Love using the dash pepper on Yoshi, the verticality, going up and around, running sideways, upside down. I really struggle with it, but just because, a lot of times I don't like something because I struggle with it. This one I did, but I still did like that galaxy. So I kind of, Cosmic Cove, Hightail Falls, and then, Wild Glide, it was okay. Wasn't a huge fan on it. Honeybloom Galaxy. I can't remember this one too well, but I do remember liking it a little bit. I believe, based on the name, that you use the bee a lot in that level, which I'm always a big fan of the bee power-ups.
Oh, I like the bee power-ups.
Those are kind of the ones that stood out to me. I will say with all the Bowser levels, or Bowser Galaxies in this game, I was really disappointed. Like in Galaxy, they had the same theme as in Super Mario 64 for the Bowser levels. And in the first 2 Bowser Galaxies, they did have that theme, but it was a little bit of a remix. And I didn't like the remix as much as I did the original. So I was kind of upset that they took those away. And once again, I believe the first 2 were like lava levels, so very unoriginal. Just really, do something different on the first or second one. So overall, I was really not a big fan on any of the Bowser levels, so you're not going to hear me talk that much about them, but no. I'm going to kick it to you right here. World 3, which galaxy stood out to you?
Well, you know me, I mentioned in the last episode that I'm always a fan of the haunted levels, like the Boo levels, and so Haunty Hall's Galaxy is one that immediately stood out to me, and I know you weren't such a big fan of those based on the last episode, so that one...
I love the theme, though, of those places.
Oh, I absolutely do, too. And then, we loved the motion controls when it came to riding on the ball in last episode. Yes. They brought that back for the Rolling Masterpiece Galaxy. So that was a great throwback to the first Galaxy game. I really enjoyed that aspect. Like the motion controls, I know I kind of railed on them a little bit last episode. That was one of the instances where it was really done well, is controlling like that ball that you're riding on top of. And then I enjoyed the tall trunk galaxy just because it was a huge, gigantic tree that on like one of the stars you got to climb to the top of it. And then in another of the stars, you got to slide all the way down it. And I thought that slide was really fun. And I thought it was a great throwback to like Princess's, what was the name? Princess's Secret Slide or whatever it was.
And the theme was the same too in that.
Oh, yes. So I thought tall trunk, man, all this alliteration is making it tough. But
could be the beer too, you know.
Yeah,
Sorry, Red. It could be the wine that you're drinking, man, not the beer.
I'm pinkies up on this podcast. I'm sipping on one. That's what happens when I run out of beer and get desperate. So.
But kind of like, I'll kind of touch on a little bit of it. Tall trunk, I did really like the Galaxy. Thought it was kind of cool, like a big treehouse, and then the slide was amazing. The rolling masterpiece, just like the last game, I did really like that one right there. The beat block Galaxy. Oh, fuck that thing, man. Kind of go back to the flip switch or whatever it was. The beat block was just as bad. And then, those two levels, I absolutely hated those levels. Don't really have much else to say. Kind of looking through them right here. Freezy Flake, I really didn't care about. The haunted halls or whatever it was. Hall, man, these are tough. Halls. Like those right there. Like I said, I like the theme and everything, but other than that, it really didn't stand out too much for me. Kind of going on to World 4 as I bring them up and look at the Galaxies because I can't really remember them. Go ahead and talk about World 4 and which ones you liked.
Oh, well, now you're making me read through it really quick.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Starshine Beach. We love the beach levels. We love the water levels. So Starshine Beach was always going to jump out as a favorite of ours, or at least for me, because any beach level, I think they just do a great job of, one, making it absolutely beautiful, and two, just, they still incorporate that water and the underwater sections. To me, the beach levels are some of my favorite in any Mario game. So I was a really big fan of Starshine Beach. But beyond that, I guess I will touch on the Supermassive Galaxy. Everything's huge, hence the name Supermassive Galaxy. And the only reason I kind of liked it was a throwback to Tiny Huge Island, I thought, from Mario 64, or at least parts of it, where you were tiny and everything else was huge. So I did like that Supermassive Galaxy had a nice little throwback to that, where everything else in the galaxy was just gigantic. But beyond that, World 4, in my opinion, was a little bit of a letdown. Nothing else really jumped out to me. We did get our second Bowser fight, and again, it was like you said, you had the lava in space. The castle looked cool, but I'm kind of with you that the Bowser levels didn't really stand out to me too much. So I'd give my props to Starshine Beach and Supermassive Galaxy. What about you from World 4?
Yeah, agreed. Just like you, Starshine Beach. We always love those big water levels. Yeah. It looks beautiful. Love the beach. Wish I could make it there sometime in the next years. I don't know. With kids, right now with kids, I'm like, I don't even want to mess with that right now. So, but yeah, Supermassive Galaxy. I really like that one. Flipsville. Screw that place. I did not care for Flipsville whatsoever. Then kind of Sweet Mystery. I did really like that one. There wasn't really a lot to it from what I remember, but I do remember like the backdrops being like, donuts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I had to say donuts all excitedly. But I did really like the backdrops and all the food and everything. So I thought that was kind of unique and cool. Now the Honey Hop. I think when I was talking about a Honey Galaxy a little bit earlier, I was actually thinking about Honey Hop. I'm not really sure which one is which now, so I'll just say, hey, you probably got to play with as a bee, so it's probably a pretty tree area. Green is a pretty green area with some honey and the bee, so I'll probably like that one a little bit. But now Red, I'm going to throw it to you right here, so get ready for it.
I'm ready.
World 5, what galaxies did you like? And why don't you kind of go one that you didn't like also?
Oh, don't worry. I think I've got one of those in here. But first, I do have to say, I'm noticing a pattern here where you're throwing it to me to start each one.
Well, I got to look at the galaxies too, man. Like, if I go right to the galaxies, I'm not going to know what the hell I'm talking about.
Well, I am glad you mentioned maybe one that I didn't like, because this one had one of my biggest disappointments in the game, and that was the Slip Sand Galaxy. Yeah. Anyone who's listened to us back to our Two Guys Playing Zelda days, we love desert areas. Even they look beautiful on any kind of technology, which you don't think a desert would look beautiful, but Nintendo manages to make some absolutely gorgeous desert levels. And even the one we got in the original Galaxy, we both mentioned it as one that we loved. Like, I loved Slippery Sand Land from Mario 64. I mean, it's just, we've loved desert areas. The Slip Sand Galaxy ends that streak with a whimper. It just...
Yeah, and the theme was terrible too.
The theme was terrible, and it was just like, yes, there was sand, but it was still against the backdrop of like outer space, so it didn't really look like you're in a desert or anything like that. So to me, I'm glad you mentioned, like, hey, let's talk about one we didn't like, because Slip Sand Galaxy I thought was a massive letdown. There were one or two that I liked in here, like the Space Storm Galaxy kind of looked like you were climbing on a giant rocket or a space station, so I thought that one was a fun one. Shiver Burn Galaxy was very similar to Freeze Flame from the first Super Mario Galaxy. I liked the lava and ice being side by side. So those two kind of popped out for me, but man, I will always remember World 5 for being like, oh, Slip Sand Galaxy. Oh.
It was cool going down that sand slide though, like how kind of look behind you had to dodge all that stuff, and then at the very, I think it's that Galaxy, and then at the very end it got really narrow and stuff. I did really like that, but like you said, overall was just a really big letdown. I believe one of the few, maybe the only desert Galaxy that we had in the game. Space Storm, I'm not really big on that one. I did like Shiver Burn, like the concept of lava and ice, and I believe in that Galaxy, like you could turn into the Ice Mario or whatever. Or maybe somehow there was ice on top of lava. I was like, that shit makes no sense whatsoever. Now, it did melt, but the rate that it melted, like, I know this is a game. And I know the physics, like, in games don't always make sense. Look at Zelda. But, like, that right there just, I mean, I can handle it because, yes, it's a fantasy world. Maybe the physics are different, or if they're not, who gives a crap? It's a video game, but it's still, like, doesn't bother me, but I'm like, there's no way that's possible. But anyways, I do like when we get lava and fire beside ice. So that was really cool right there. Boo Moon, hated that one. I thought that one was just absolutely terrible. And there was one that was really dark the entire time. And I think it might have been Boo Moon. Like where you just like, you used the bulb berry, I believe, a couple times.
Oh, no, that's in World, that's Flash, but that's in World 6.
Boo Moon still sucked, okay?
I'm with you. I like haunted levels, and I thought Boo Moon sucked. I'm completely with you on that.
Really, there's nothing else to really talk about in World 5. World 5 was, I mean, they were all kind of a letdown. The whole game was a little bit of a letdown, but World 5 was just, but kind of go on to World 6, kind of talk about the galaxies in that one.
So World 6, of course, was the last of like the main worlds that we got to go to. So you kind of have to start with, you get the final Bowser fight. In the Bowser's Galaxy Generator, which I thought was a very cool looking level. It had some great platforming. The final Bowser fight was really fun, I thought. But overall, for being like the final... Okay, no, never mind. I take it back. As I'm reading through this and reminding myself, like, no, there were some pretty good ones in here, actually. Throwback Galaxy.
Yes.
I loved, because I'm a whore for Mario 64. It's probably my favorite Mario game in the mainline series.
It is.
And
I don't know why you said probably right there. Like, even I know the answer to that one.
And so, like, just getting a recreation of Whomp's Fortress in the Galaxy 2 engine was such a fun thing. And it had that Mario 64 music with it. So I loved Throwback Galaxy just from that standpoint. I liked Slimy Spring Galaxy. Again, it's an underwater level. I'm a big fan of underwater levels. But I will say, I did have another letdown here in World 6. I saw a galaxy called Clockwork Ruins Galaxy. And I thought it was going to be a throwback to like Tick-Tock Clock from Mario 64.
Yes.
And it turns out it's still a pretty level. Like it's like
Indiana Jones feel right there.
Yes, absolutely. Like the Indiana Jones feel, just a lot of moving parts to it. So it was a fun level. It was a beautiful level, but it threw me off a little bit because I was expecting a clock and I was a little pissed when I didn't get it. So all in all, World 6 was a pretty strong world, but for the closing world, I thought it could have delivered a little bit better, but what do you think?
Well, that's the entire game right there. It could have delivered a little better. Melty Monster, like, just a fire world in a galaxy, like, a lot of times against that backdrop of space. Like, that place just looked gorgeous. Really liked it. I was a fan of Clockwork Ruins. I thought it was really cool. Like, it had an Indiana Jones feel, even though I've not seen those movies. So, like, I need to get on that. Like, I tried one time when I was really, really hungover, but I was like, too hungover to even watch movies. So, like, that's how bad I was. But
that's hungover.
I guess it just didn't grab me that day, but I do need to watch those. But I did really like that galaxy, kind of like, this whole bunch of wood, like forest, kind of the platforming. I was a really big fan of that one.
Yep.
Throwback, I'm not as big of a fan of Mario 64. I still would rank it probably as my third favorite Mario game, but like the nostalgia I've talked about is not there for that one. So when you're trying to do like a throwback Galaxy and the nostalgia is not there, it doesn't really work as well for me as it did you, but still it's okay. It was okay. Battle Bell Blah. Not even gonna waste my time on that one. Or any of the other ones. Like I didn't care for any of the other ones. Slimy Spring, I was actually, it was water, but I was not even really a fan of that one. So overall, that's really all I had to say about World 6. World S, the special world. What galaxies did you like in that one?
So I was a big fan of, I almost yanked my headphones right out of my ears there. Now I really liked the roller coaster galaxy because it was like a mixture to me of like Rainbow Road plus a roller coaster plus pinball plus you're steering the rolling ball like we mentioned on one of the galaxies earlier. So to me, of the special levels, rolling coaster galaxy is absolutely the one that jumped out to me. I will give a special shout out to Boss Blitz Galaxy because I know there are a lot of people out there who kind of like that Boss Blitz style.
Yeah.
We've talked about it some in our old Zelda conversations. That I'm not necessarily as big a fan of just recycling bosses. I feel like it's kind of lazy design. But you know, at the same time, it's doing a Boss Blitz is it's something different. It's the only time they do it in the game. So those two stood out to me the most. I never got the Grandmaster Galaxy because you had to unlock 100 or 240 freaking stars, and I just wasn't doing that shit. So I can't speak to that one. I think it'd be a fun challenge probably to try it out. But what galaxies from World S jumped out to you?
Like you, rolling coaster galaxy, just a very fun time. Take the ball down this awesome Rainbow Road slide. I really, really like that. Probably one of my favorites in the game, along with Cosmic Cove. Other than that, there's just a bunch of unoriginal ideas in this whole world. Like the Stone Cyclone, you had that in the original Mario Galaxy. Right. The Boss Blitz was actually the bosses from Mario Galaxy, so I didn't really care for that one. Mario Squared, I believe there's a concept like that in the original. So overall, just not a lot of good thoughts right there. The Twisty Trials Galaxy, was not a huge fan of it because it was extremely difficult, but it kind of did go back to Sunshine, even though I had not played Sunshine at that time. So
right.
I kind of like the flashback a little bit to that. Nowadays, I can appreciate that a little bit more. But it was kind of unique. It was difficult, difficult in a good way. But other than that, World S, to be honest with you, it really wasn't that special to me. So
it didn't feel that special, did it?
Yeah. So that's kind of the Galaxy wrap up right there. As y'all can see, just overall compared to Galaxy 1, just really not a lot that stood out, not a lot that were great. Really the Galaxies, I feel, were more about platforming than they were looking beautiful, which I think is what the original Galaxy did. So that's another part right there or another point where Galaxy 2 just falls a little bit behind Galaxy 1. Good platforming, maybe better platforming than Galaxy 1, but overall just didn't look as beautiful, didn't stand out as much, which kind of brings me to the music. And apparently they used this, like we said in the beginning, an orchestra for this game, and apparently there were 70 songs total, 50 original compositions, and then 20 arrangements from earlier games. I don't know where Red got those numbers. I don't believe them because everything that I heard was used in a past Mario game or it was something used from Galaxy. If it was a new one, it didn't stand out that much to me. It wasn't that great. Right. So overall, that's my opinions on the music. A huge letdown from Galaxy 1. Just something I'd never go back to and listen to again like I do with Galaxy. So Red, what's your opinions on the music?
I'm generally with you. When I saw, and those came from I think Mariopedia or something like that, or Mario Wiki, one of those. Whenever I saw there were 50 original compositions, I'm like, really? I feel like they're all the same, like you said, the same songs over and over. Or
if you do a remix or a different sound, does that count as a new composition?
Well, that's what I thought. The 20 arrangements of previous compositions would cover those, but I don't think I heard 50 original sounds. And I know it's a Mario game, so you're going to get similar sounds. I get that, but I'm with you. The music didn't jump out to me that much. I guess they included a double disc of the soundtrack with the Japanese version of the game, which I'm always a fan of. I don't think it ever made it to America, unfortunately, but the music's not that great in general. The story, It's a Mario story. It's almost the same story as the original Mario Galaxy. The only thing is,
although it acted like the original Mario Galaxy never happens. Like, oh, we're going to have the Star Festival again. Like, there's a lot that, like, oh, Galaxy 1 never happened. We're just going to do our own story.
Right.
But then they bring Rosalina back, so whatever. But kind of go ahead with the story.
I did like that Bowser was, like, gigantic because he had gotten the Power Stars and they made him massive. So it made him look really cool. And that includes in his boss fights, in the cinematics, you know, for what they are. But yeah, I mean, the story, he kidnaps... I almost said Zelda. Goodness, we've talked way too much Zelda in our days. He kidnaps Peach and he says he wants to build a giant empire to fit his giant size. So he goes to the center of the galaxy again, or the center of the universe, whatever. Again, we go rescue him again. And when he's defeated, it all comes undone. You do get to see the Comet Observatory at the very end and Rosalina. I was a big fan of that.
Best part of the game right there.
Hell yeah. I like that little reveal. You know, the Luma that's been following you around the whole time is reunited with her. Steals Mario's hat as a souvenir. And
kind of like a Cappy thing in Odyssey. Kind of relates to that a little bit.
Right. So Mario and Peach just return home on the Starship Mario. So you get an extra little post-credit scene if you get all 120 stars. It's basically just, that's when Rosalina tells you about the green stars, and you can go collect 120 more, which fuck that.
I will admit that I hate that flipbook style. Like, I absolutely hated that.
I didn't like that either.
And then also, I'll kind of mention, like, it took place in the story a little bit, but also in the game, there was a lot more 2D in this game than I liked.
Yeah,
like, I don't mind a little bit 2D. Mario Odyssey did it very well, but this game, it was kind of just forced, it felt like. And I think that might have been around the time one of the 2D Marios was released, so maybe they were doing it because of that reason or whatever. But overall, the story, like I said, kind of acted like Galaxy 1 never happened. And overall, just not a big fan of the story, which Mario stories don't have to be great because it's all about the platforming stuff. I never judge a Mario story really hard, but I thought Galaxy, for being a Mario game, actually had a decent story. And this one, like most of the other elements, it took a little bit of a step back. But overall, nothing really more to say on the story. Let's go to reception and legacy. We kind of talked to Ari about this being critically acclaimed, 97 on Metacritic. It won numerous Game of the Year awards, I believe. So a lot of copies, not as much as Galaxy because Galaxy is better, but it did still sell a lot of copies. But Rick, kind of what's the legacy in your mind of the game?
Unfortunately for me, it just didn't leave much of one. And it's like, it was just more, to me, it was just more of the same. And I think that's maybe why we don't remember it quite as fondly as we do the original. Because normally, yes, every Mario game kind of has the same bare bones to it, but they do something different. They innovate in some way. And I
want to interrupt you right here. Here's kind of an opinion I have. It kind of feels like a B-side game. Like, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like these are the Galaxies that didn't make it into one. Now, maybe they recreated all these new Galaxies. I don't know. But it feels like it was a B-side, and they put, like, these were the Galaxies. They didn't make it to Galaxy 1, and then they made a new game out of it. That's what it feels like to me.
No, and I'm completely with you. And that's like, we will always sit here and say, like, even though, yes, most, like, if you read some of the critical reviews for it, they're like, it improved on the original in every way. And I'm like, yeah, there were some improvements, but in general, it was too repetitive compared.
Yeah.
Like, it was just too much of the same thing. There needed to be a different concept in between Galaxy and Galaxy 2, or they needed to take Galaxy 2 in an entirely different direction.
Yes.
In my opinion. Is that kind of your general consensus as well?
Yeah, really. I mean, I think you can see in how excited, like, not everybody can see behind the scenes.
Right.
But we were really excited to talk about Galaxy 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then when it came to Galaxy 2, we were like, man, do we got to do this? And we actually had to push this episode back a day because we started preparing so late. And we're like, oh, crap. We actually remember nothing about this game. Now, I know that doesn't matter to you all because it'll still be released on the same day, blah, blah, blah. But just, I mean, I was so excited to talk about Super Mario Galaxy. I was so excited to get in 3D All-Stars. And then when it came to 2, like, the only reason that we did is because on this podcast, if we talk about a game that has, like, a sequel or, 1, 2, 3, 4, we want to talk about those in, like, order. So, like, it kind of knocks all those out. We don't take, like, a break, and we just don't want to do it that way. We want to do them together, like, episode-wise. So, like, it just was not that excited for Galaxy 2. And I think that says a lot. It's just not that memorable. Still a great game. Still a game I had a lot of fun with. Still a great platformer in terms of other platformers. It's still one of the best. It's still got that space aspect to it, but the Galaxies were let down. Like, a lot of the power-ups have already been used. There's a lot that was used in Galaxy, like you said, that they reused in Galaxy 2.
Exactly.
It was not very innovative. The story was just blah. The hub war was terrible. So just so many things that set it back for me.
Remember we said we were going to be happy about this?
No, yeah, well, legacy my ass, there's none. But just I think you all kind of know how we feel about the game. But it's time to wrap up. And I can't. Do you want to say anything else?
No, I'm with you completely. It's just it's there. It's just
there. It's there. We got to talk about it because of damn Super Mario Galaxy last episode. But next episode, we are going to take a break from games because preparing for these games, going through 49 Galaxies, it takes a lot of time, and we got other shit that we gotta do. So next episode, we're going to talk about the gaming industry as a whole. But here's the wrap up. All these links will be in the description. You can support us on Patreon or PayPal. And if you can't support us financially, please leave a review or a rating. It helps when people search for a video games podcast. And please go check out our TGPC gaming website. We have a ton of merchandise there, a very good blog. And on that merchandise, those are affiliate products, so we may earn a commission on purchases through our links. Red, talk about some of the other stuff we got going on.
Well, we're out there on YouTube, Two Guys Playing Zelda and TGPZ Gaming, but Discord's where we're really at, man. We have great gaming conversation. We talk Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. We talk TV shows, booze. Like, we talk about a lot of stuff on our Discord. It's
talk about Red's wine, which we are going to be talking about later on today.
Well, so it's just a great place to connect with other gaming fans. And it's been really our main avenue lately for communicating with fans as well. So, and it's just fun to talk shop with other people who love video games. We are also out there on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, Busted Buttons PC. As mentioned, next episode, we're just going to talk kind of what's going on in the gaming industry in general. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us talk about Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 the last couple episodes, even if, you can kind of tell which one we liked a little bit more.
Yeah.
But thank you all for listening, and we'll be back next episode.